This is an instructional video to provide guidance on filling out the SF-270 request for reimbursement. This form, along with supporting documentation, including invoices, is needed in order for sponsors to receive reimbursement for work completed on a project. This work to be completed, along with the cost share amount, are outlined within the agreement between NRCS and the sponsor. There are different cost share amounts based on the watershed program that your project has been funded with. For this form, the first box that we're going to fill out is 1A, the type of payment requested. An advance, of course, is where you receive funds in advance of the work to be completed. We will not be doing any advance payments for watershed programs, so you will click the reimbursement box. For 1B, this box is for either you will click final or partial payment. So if this is your last and final payment, you will click final. For this example, we will click a partial payment. 2, the basis for request will either be cash or accrual. The cash for a reimbursement request is past expenses already paid, and now you're seeking federal funds. So if the work is completed and you have already paid them and now you're seeking reimbursement, you will click cash. If you have completed the work but not paid them yet and you're now seeking federal funds to pay the expense, you would click accrual. So for this example, we are going to click accrual. Number 3, the federal sponsoring agency and organizational element is the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service. Box number 4, the federal grant or other identifying number is your agreement number. So it should look something like this. Number 5, if this is a partial payment request, you will put your payment number right here. For box 6, your employer identification number. This is your number. Usually comes from the IRS. Usually looks something like this. This box is not a required field, but if you have that and want to fill it out, you can put it here. The federal assistance identification number, if you have that number, you can put it here. It also is not required for this form for the watershed programs. Number 8, the period covered by this request. So for this example, we are going to say that the work that has been completed that you are now requesting reimbursement for was completed between January and June of 2022. Down in box or area 9, this is recipient organization information or the sponsor's information. So you'll just put in their name and address information. For this section 10 will be blank. We do not send out checks, so this will just be blanket. For section 11, this is the financial information section. So the first thing we're going to look at are these 3 columns. Some agreements have multiple lines of accounting associated with them, and so you can use multiple columns to break out those costs. For a typical watershed agreement, we will have financial assistance or FA, which is used for construction, and then we will have technical assistance or TA. TA can be, or NRCS can provide reimbursement to sponsors for technical and administrative costs. This can include, but is not limited to, engineering services like developing a project design, construction drawings and specifications, or operation and maintenance plans. For administrative costs, this can include soliciting, evaluating, awarding, and administering contracts, project management, record keeping. Please, again, check your agreement with NRCS to verify which costs are being cost shared on for your particular project. So to start this section, in 11A, your total program outlays to date. So this date needs to correspond with your end date up here for this request for reimbursement. So it'll be June 1st for this example. So this request for reimbursement will be for all the work completed between January and June of 2022. So for this example, we're going to say that the construction completed cost to date is $100,000. This cumulative program income, this is gross income earned by the recipient that is directly generated by a supported activity or earned as a result of the federal award during the period of performance. This is not cash received from the federal agency. So an example could include fees for services, like fees charged for the use or rental of equipment acquired under federal award. Maybe a recipient charged a producer a fee to use a drill or something like that. We usually do not have that with our watershed programs, but I just wanted to kind of explain what that is. So more than likely that is just going to be zero. If you have something within your agreement within RCS that lists this, then you might request reimbursement for it, but more than likely you will not. So we will leave that as zero. So please just check your agreement language. So C and E will auto-populate. We will not be doing advances with the watershed program, so this will remain zero. And then for F, the non-federal share of amount on line E, for this example, we're going to use 75% cost share for federal and 25% non-federal. So this is going to be 25,000. So the sponsor share will be 25,000, and then the federal share of amount on line E will be 75,000. Right here in H, this is the federal payments previously requested. So since this is partial payment 1 for this example, that will be 0. I'll come back and explain in a minute what you would put here if you were, if this was your second or third partial payment. So for technical assistance, again, please check within your watershed agreement within RCS to see the amount of technical assistance that can be reimbursed for. For this example, we are going to just say that it's 7.5% of the construction cost. So that would be $7,500 for this example. Again, this will be 0, and these are auto-populated, and this will be 0 also. So then the federal share of the amount on line E will be the total, which is $7,500. So now if you'll come over to the right, your total request for reimbursement would be $82,500. You'll scroll on down. All of this right here has to do with advances only. So for this example, those will remain 0. Down here for the certification, for your signatory, you will need to put their first and last name, title, and telephone number. And then the person who signs your request for reimbursement will also need to be the one who signs the agreement. This will either need to be an official digital signature or a wet signature where they print it and sign it. So I want to come back up here and show you one more thing. So this was for a partial payment 1. So if you are on your second reimbursement and say that you are now requesting another $100,000, we would change this to $200,000 because this is the total program outlay to date, or the total amount of work that has been completed. So this is cumulative. These auto-populate. And now the non-federal share of the $200,000 is $50,000 because you will add $25,000 to the original $25,000. And the same thing for the federal share. So this will be $150,000. So your federal share, oops, let me go right here. The federal payments previously requested, if you remember, it was $75,000. Okay. You previously for partial payment one requested 75,000 from NRCS. Now you're requesting another 75,000. So that's how that federal payments previously requested works. And then you would just do the same thing over here. So I just wanted to show that, and I think that is it. Hope this was helpful.